Welcome back to another video. I'm absolutely ecstatic to get this release out to you guys. We have just gotten a ton of absolutely insane Wings of Fire news that I will be breaking down for you all. From official FanWing meetups to updates on the TV show, Arc 4, and additional winglets, and a lot more, this is going to be one of my most insane videos yet. I can't wait to dive into all these updates for you guys, so be sure to stick around until the end. But before we begin, a huge shout out to my patrons. DraggerLover95, 𝙒𝙤𝙬𝙁𝙬𝙁, Thistle, Noobto, Pyronuke, Avril, and Pancake. Thank you all so much for supporting me. Links to their social medias are in the description down below. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. If you saw my previous video, you'd know that Tui hosted a live stream this weekend on YouTube where she answered all kinds of questions about Wings of Fire. This was done to make up for the fact that one of her events unfortunately had to be cancelled last minute. Tui decided to be very kind and not only join this live stream to talk to fans all over the world, but will also be rescheduling her library appearance for that location. I was going to attend originally, so if this new date works out for me, I'll be there and ready to provide all the news. Let me just say, this livestream was insane. Tui made some jaw-dropping reveals and released an exclusive announcement for all the exciting fanwings watching. I'll include a link below to the recording so you can watch for yourself after seeing my breakdown. Fans were allowed to ask any questions they wanted. And oh boy, did Tui deliver on these answers. So let's get into everything Tui talked about during the stream. It will genuinely blow your mind and get any dragon lover excited for what's to come. This is some big stuff. One of the first questions many fanwings were asking is if Tui can give us any kind of details on Arc 4. With that, she gave us an update on how the next novel is coming along. Tui stated that she's working on it right now, and is currently on the writing stage where she's just putting all her thoughts on paper. Things will be refined and rewritten with time, but she has a solid enough idea on what's happening with this story to where she is actively writing it. While she can't tell us who the protagonist is yet, Tui did name a few characters she wants to get back to in this arc. The number one story she wants to be told right now is what happened to Umber at the end of Book 6. Based on what Tui said, it seems quite likely that he may end up being a protagonist for this arc, but we don't know anything for sure just yet, so take that with a grain of salt. She said she has to get to it here, so we'll be getting Umber's story soon regardless. He will be involved in this arc. Tui wants to cover the other generation of Dragonets, namely Mink, Bumblebee, and Peacemaker are the ones she's been thinking about a lot lately. I have a ton of headcanons on these young Dragonets, and I can't wait to see what Tui does with them. It's shaping up that they'll be a huge part of the focus for this next story within WoF. One thing fanwings have been absolutely begging to see since Dragon Slayer is a meeting between Peril and Sky. After all, these Skywing twins haven't interacted since they were newly hatched Dragonets, and don't even know the other one exists. It would be perfect to see them meet one another, especially due to how opposite they are. And well, Tui just spoke about that topic during the Q&A. She said she really wants to write a scene in which Peril and Sky finally meet. Tui doesn't know for sure if it would fit in Book 16, so she actually mentioned that it would make for a perfect winglet. Tui really does want to return to Winglets and write that scene in one of them, but she's currently trying to figure out how she could potentially fit it in, as she's really busy writing some non-Wings of Fire books right now. But she is definitely interested in making more winglets, and we'll see these short tales return someday in the future. I absolutely cannot wait for additional winglets, and I'm really glad Tui wants to make more, despite it being a while since the last one. She also mentioned that she's been thinking about writing a winglet surrounding the Scorching. It's not promised, but it is in her head and still an active thought, with the winglet possibly giving us a new human perspective on this grand event. One thing I found really sweet is when Tui talked about how supportive she is of fan creations, Pyrrhian and Pantolan OCs, fanfictions, and just about everything readers have created. Tui said that she wants Wings of Fire to be like a playground, where fanwings can pop in and make their own stories and just have fun. A question many people were asking in the chat is if there would ever be a spider tribe, something Tui has shown interest in the past, and what they would be called if so. While this is absolutely not confirmation of a third continent of arachnid dragons ever appearing, Tui did toss around the idea of them being called spider wings or web wings. I honestly think that name sounds pretty cool. If we do ever get something like this, that's what Tui potentially has in mind for them. She was also asked how you pronounce Pyrrhia, the name of the first continent in Wings of Fire. And I was right all along! I always used to pronounce it Pyrrhia in my older videos, but I get like hundreds of comments telling me I was saying it wrong. Tui's pronunciation is the same, which is how I initially read it while reading the books, and kept saying it when I saw one of her own Scholastic interviews. You guys slowly converted me into saying Pyrrhia, and now I always do. But the correct way is Pyrrhia, according to Tui herself. Tui was then asked if she can tell us any more about the Wings of Fire TV show that's being worked on by Prime Video. While there's nothing she can really say about it yet, other than it's still being currently worked on, Tui did reassure us that this project is in good hands. She's very excited for fanwings to get to see the show and what it's going to be like. When there's more to share, we'll be able to find out about this television rendition of Wings of Fire. However, Tui did say that the characters being true to how they are in the books is the thing that's the most important to her with this show. The producer is awesome, and Tui is sure that everyone working on the Wings of Fire series at Amazon will honor what us fanwings love. One very exciting little sneak peek Tui ended up talking about, upon many people asking, is what's going on with Beryl. For those unaware, Beryl is an unknown dragon that was featured on Queen Scarlet's enemy list in the guidebook. All that was said about this mysterious character is a note scrawled by the evil ex-queen of the Skywings herself. Everything is ready when the time is right. This message stood in stark contrast from the aggressive, informal nature of all the other descriptions for each character on Scarlet's hit list. Ever since last year, fanwings have been wondering who Beryl is, because even the Dragonets of Destiny can't find anything about this elusive dragon. And well, Tui finally spoke out about them for the first time. Beryl being teased for a future story was completely done on purpose. Tui discussed how she loves leaving little details that provide an open window for another tale to be told about in the future. She mentioned the fact that a Skywing mother escaped with her egg during Scarlet's bloodbath. There's a dragonet who likely hatched in the brightest night, and they're still out there. Tui reminded us that we still don't know what happened to both those dragons. That is such an interesting thing that she went out of her way to mention. I wonder if we'll have that Skywing mother or brightest night dragonet appear in Arc 4. That would be awesome. Tui continued talking about Beryl, and said she really hopes she can get to this dragon in Arc 4. I am beyond hyped to find out what's going on, and who could make Scarlet so potentially scared or angry that she let her crazed persona momentarily drop. The next topic to be discussed was Wings of Fire merchandise. Tui told us that she's really been begging 𝙒𝙬𝙁𝙀 to make the WoF cutie cuffs available outside of just Target, as there are a ton of fanwings who want to get their hands on them, but don't live close to one of these stores. I absolutely agree with that, and I'm really glad Tui is working for the market to eventually broaden with the cutie cuffs. Hopefully one day they'll be available in more stores, as well as even online shipping, so that they can go international. Who knows? But for now, nothing is promised, but we can rest assured that Tui is trying her best to get them out there. There's hope! She said she really wants to do more Wings of Fire merchandise as well, which is so exciting to hear. Then Tui dropped an absolute bombshell on us about something that will be happening next year. Spring 2025, we will be receiving FanWing Fest, a way for you to get the chance to interact with other readers of the series in person. These will be taking place in 3 to 5 different big cities, I assume only in North America. There will be a devoted day where any fanwing can come to a certain library or bookstore there and get to interact with other Wings of Fire fans. There will be costume contests, trivia, photo opportunities, and tons more. There may even be more merchandise sold at these events. Very soon, we'll get to vote on which cities the FanWing Fest goes to during spring of next year. There's currently a website up for this event, and despite the fact that it is quite barren right now, it will be full of information in the coming months. How exciting, you guys! This is such an awesome thing for Tui and Scholastic to plan, and I really hope that I'll be able to go to one of these. It just seems like an absolute blast. I wonder if Tui will also appear. I'll include the link to the website page down below where you can keep an eye out for any information to be revealed soon. This is just perfect. I can't wait. Well, a lot of the questions I asked were general ones said in the chat, except a comment of mine Tui saw on the screen herself, which is so cool. One of my questions actually got answered directly, and it was one no one was asking. I brought up how a Kraken was mentioned in the guidebook, and wondered if anything would be done with this mystical creature type. For anyone who didn't catch it, there is a brief bit of writing from the early days of Pantala in an excerpt of the Book of Clearsight. The first Hiveling Queen interacted with the Kraken, and was instructed by her seer ancestor to leave it alone. Tui got inspired to add Krakens to the series due to there being one illustrated on the original Pyrrhia map. While Tui didn't talk much about Krakens, other than again confirming they're out there, she said there are no other mythical creatures apart from dragons and these tentacle-bearing sea monsters. We also got it revealed that there will most likely be a new map at the beginning of Book 16. I feel like this would feature the towns and cities that are being built in this almost new world for the continents, now that they're united. Tui hasn't talked to her editor about adding a new map though, but she really wants one. I think it's entirely likely that we'll receive a brand new look at Pyrrhia and Pantala. We got a really interesting and exciting piece of news revealed as well. Back when I met Mike Holmes earlier this year, he told me that he did not have a contract to make a Darkstalker Legends graphic novel, and assumed it would not happen because of that. However, we were told just a few months ago by Tui that one would be coming, so everyone just assumed a contract was written in those gap months. However, Tui told us here in the Q&A that we'll actually be getting a new artist for Darkstalker Legends. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm so excited to see who this could be and get a look at what their art style is. We have the potential for peak incoming, and I think it'll be nice to get a new perspective for this very different novel. To give Mike a break, someone will be taking the reins to the Darkstalker Legends graphic novel. However, it remains that he'll still be illustrating all the other main series books. I can't wait for our first look at this upcoming graphic novel! Tui again returned to discuss Arc 4, and how we'll be getting a ton of new characters as well. Right now, she's working on their backstories, families, and why they are the way they are. There is currently no title for Book 16, as Tui said she often comes up with titles at the end of her writing process. And wow, that's all the spectacular and exciting news we received during this half-hour Q&A live stream. I am eternally grateful to Tui for being kind enough to host this after the unfortunate cancellation, and I can't wait to see more news on her returning. I'm very glad that I got to unpack all this information for you guys. What's got you the most hyped for the series' future? Are you looking forward to Arc 4, the show, and everything else to come? Let me know down below. I'm super hyped to post my review of the limited edition book on Sunday. I got my copy on the day of release, and I have so many thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching and staying tuned until the end, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.